Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol and how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day, whatever day you're watching this, or whatever time, or whatever country. I appreciate it. Today's topic is, do I ever have bad days? It's rather self-indulgent of me to do the keto and me, because frankly, I'm not that interesting. But I get asked questions about my personal experience, and after all, that's really the only thing to which I can speak is my personal experience and my understanding of the protocol. So today, I will address, do I ever have bad days? First of all, for those of you who are new, thank you for coming. And my practice is to address the topic du jour, have a little nod to a couple of people about halfway through, and then turning my attention to the comments and questions that are in the chat. So thank you very much. And what's so cool is sometimes you guys answer each other's questions. It's fantastic. The protocol, as I learned it and have practiced it now 9.5 years, over 9.5 years. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. Total carbs, not net carbs. Net carbs just means more carbs. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it, but you don't even need a food list. Just keep it to fatty sources of protein, limited amounts of full fat dairy, and limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables. That's it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. This is the key. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop eating when you've had enough. Be patient and persevere. I added those last two myself. So that's the protocol. Keeping in mind there are many ways to be happy, healthy, successful, and great. Doing it another way, doing things another way, being a vegetarian, a vegan, a move more, eat less, a military workouts regimen, whatever works for you, as long as you're healthy and happy. That said, this is what makes me healthy and happy. Do I ever have bad days, though? Yes. Okay. Live stream over. The answer is yes. But let me define what a bad day, and I did put in a little quote mark, apostrophes in the title. Bad days for me now are a very different experience than my bad days before. I was overweight, obese, morbidly obese, all the escalating statuses of overweight from my mid-20s to my mid-50s, and I tried. My weight and my appearance was a daily thought. I mean, I couldn't ever get very far from it, and it was not happy thoughts. So, as things progressed and I would have bad days, some days it would just be emotionally bad, or mentally. It's a mashup of a word, emotional and mental. But what started happening was that morphed into physically bad days, uncomfortable, heavier and heavier. I'm 5'1", and I'm actually 115 and a half pounds lower than my heaviest weight that I know of. So imagine 115 pounds on 61 inches of height. That's a lot. So it was physically uncomfortable. And I had acid reflux. I had chronic ulcerative colitis. I had joint pain that was coming in as I got older. And I was just very unhappy with myself. I at one point thought I might have congestive heart failure. My father did, because I had trouble breathing when I was sitting on the sofa. It was like there was not enough room in my thoracic area for my lungs to fully inflate. I thought I might have congestive heart failure. I was very big. And then, of course, there was the emotional and the mental, the lack of self-esteem about my weight and my appearance. I've never had a problem with my self-esteem about my brain power. But let's face it, when you're very overweight, people look at you and you lose about 20 IQ points in their minds. It's just the way it is. So a bad day then was bad. And I I had chronic clinical depression. It was not every day or every week, but it didn't need to be. It mm, 3 or 4 episodes a year were more than I ever wanted. And I felt like I was going in a downward spiral, and those bad days got worse, and they got more frequent. I had given up on losing weight by January 14th. I do this every time. January 8th, 2014. I'd given up. I was not gonna lose weight. I tried the triathlons. You can go to my blog and see my photos from the triathlon days. Oosh. And but I didn't wanna take insulin for type 2 diabetes. So I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I came across the famous white coat video of Dr. Eric Westman of Duke University, who is now, I'm happy to say, he's a friend. I was never a patient of his. I just followed the protocol. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. That's pretty much it. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer. So I knew low carb worked for me from past experiences. I just never stuck with it. I made the excuses that all of us make. Oh, life came at me, or I used food for comfort, or I was bored, or whatever. Excuses. They're not explanations, they're excuses. I made them all, but I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. It stopped being about cosmetics and it started being about my health. So the next time I ate, I laid off the carbs. So this was a happy thing. I didn't lose the weight super fast. I lost it normally. It took about 1 year to lose the first 47 pounds. So that's on average less than a pound a week. And I had a lot to lose. And it took another 2 years to lose the next 50 pounds. I was happy with it. I didn't care. I was thrilled. But I started to feel better. No more acid reflux. No more ulcerative colitis. No more joint pain. The joint pain was one of the first things to resolve, like within the first 2 weeks. I lost weight. I felt better. After a while, became confident enough to buy some new clothes. It's a lot more fun, clothes shopping, when you're a size 6 than when you're a size 24W. So that was great. But every day is not a great day. I I I am subject to the same bad days. Now, here's the difference though. The bad days before, if I was having a bad day, which is one of the excuses we use, I had such a bad day, I just didn't want to think about giving up anything. So I went, got some Ben and Jerry's. I would do that. Bad day would be made worse by making ridiculous food choices. Forget about we were told low fat and all this stuff. I knew that there was no way that M&Ms were nutritious. Forget about low fat, low carb. M&Ms are not nutritious. And I would joke, "Oh, I take them when I'm having a bad day. They're medicinal. They even come in pill form." So bad days then were dark days. Dark. I mean grim. I had gotten to the point where I didn't know that I wanted to go on for another 30 years feeling the way I did. Whether medical science could keep me going, I didn't know that I wanted to. Not feeling that way. Those were dark bad days. Now, a bad day for me has nothing to do with food, really. It's not because, like I said, a bad day would be made much worse by the food that I chose to eat. No one forced me to eat it. Now, a bad day is a normal bad day. Um, we have a house that is 50 years old, and that doesn't make it a bad day that we need one on top of the other, our new disposal dishwasher, range hood, outside freezer, and refrigerator. That's not a bad day, it's an irritation. But I am married. Enough said. Sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes we're just, "Urgh, urgh." I'm gonna say something a little off color here, okay? So be prepared if, earmuffs if you need. In my former career, there was a home inspector because I was in real estate. A home inspector I really liked working with. He was honest, he was thorough, he was not an alarmist, and he was good-looking guy, country guy. And I got to know about his family, and And I say, how you doing?" His oldest girl's getting ready to go off to college. "Okay, great. Going to Carolina. Okay, great. How's the wife?" "Oh, fine, fine. We've just been having a lot of hallway sex lately." So excuse me? He says, you pass each other on the hallway and you say, "Screw you." "Well, screw you." So sorry, off color. But that's what happens when you are in a long-term relationship. So bad days are bad days. You know what doesn't enter into it? Well, I'm having a bad day. So I'm going to try to fix that bad day with food. There are days I eat more food than I require. This is my biggest s- challenge. Not a struggle, it's a challenge. And why? Because I am gradually requiring less and less fuel. I eat less than I did a year and a half ago. I eat less probably than I did a year ago. I know I eat less than I did 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and way less than I did when I started this. FYI, same thing for my lovely mate. We both marvel at how little we require and how little we want. We just require less. Why? Well, for one thing, we're burning fat for fuel. It's very efficient. Another thing, we're older. We've been given the privilege of growing older. And our requirements as humans, as we age, are different than they were when we were in our teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, even then in our 50s. We're both pretty active. I've been going to the gym. My husband has a physically demanding job. He occasionally jumps on his bicycle and rides for 26 miles. So a bad day now is just a normal bad day. Rats, we need new tires for the truck. That's not a bad day. Ugh. But food never fixes it. Food doesn't get the new tires on the truck. Food did not replace the battery that went dead in my Lexus. I had to buy a new battery. Thank goodness for AAA. Food didn't fix it. So yeah, keto doesn't fix everything. It doesn't fix relationships. Sometimes it negatively impacts some relationships depending on what that relationship is built on. Sometimes people, even very close people like the people you live with and love you and hopefully love you, can be uncomfortable with the change. Our physical change, perhaps our self-confidence change, the way we present ourselves to the world. Friends can not want to be around you so much, mostly because I think they might feel like our change reflects poorly on them, which it doesn't. We all have our paths to walk. So I don't begrudge anyone, whether they're in my family or an acquaintance or a neighbor or a stranger. I don't begrudge them their food choices. I don't get a vote on what people eat. And it's not my business what they weigh. I just hope people take care of themselves for their health. Let's face it, we all end up paying for very sick people. Insurance rate goes up, all that stuff. Healthcare becomes difficult to get. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. So, do I have bad days? Having a little warm spell right now. Yes, I do. Few and far between. Nothing like they're not dark days. They're not grim. They're not, man, I don't know that I wanna go on living for another 30 years. Now it's like, I wonder what's gonna happen. I can be, what's the word? Not anxious. I can be, not even apprehensive. A little, "Yeah, what's gonna happen next?" But not in a bad way. I'm a tinge of, "Okay, okay, I'm gonna do this." But it's exciting as well. So, we all have bad days. I think the common thing is that food doesn't fix any of the bad days. I hear from a lot of people, "I was doing great, and then my mother passed away, and I totally fell off the wagon." My mother passed away as well. Guess what? No matter what I eat, my mother is not coming back. I was doing great, and then, mm, fill in the blank. And I used to do that too, but I changed. And if I can do this, you can do this. I promise. If I can do this, you can do this. And you don't need to buy one thing to be 100% successful at this. Not one. There's not a kit or a food product or anything else. I didn't buy anything. I eventually got, urine strips to test my ketones and a Keto Mojo, um, Hoochie Me Flotch. But you don't need to buy anything. That said, I will happily sell you t-shirts and caps and mugs and my green book journal, which you can get at Amazon. If you go to my blog, link below, you can see a link to it, takes you to Amazon. And the shirt I'm wearing today is one of my, I think it's the first one I made, IC and IW, Go Keto with Casey, which stands for I can and I will. It's kind of a subtle message. So you don't need to buy anything. I really appreciate it. Trying to earn my keep around here, and it tickles me. And I appreciate those of you who do support in any way you can. There are some patrons here. I have a private support group on patreon.com where you get every weekday morning video snippets from my kitchen, topics usually suggested by patrons, and going up also a handful of patron-only live streams on Crowdcast. I'm getting ready, and I send out these cards. I'll be writing notes on the back. This one says, "Food is not the boss of me." So I designed them, and I'll be sending those out over the next several weeks. And there you go. So thank you very much for your support. There is a free trial period at Patreon. You can try it for 7 days. If you like it, you can stay. If it's not your cup of tea, you don't need to stay. But I do appreciate it. Hashtag Casey's Pink Drink. Tumbler full of ice. Diet tonic water. Splash of diet cranberry. Squeeze of lime. And if you find these live streams and my other videos helpful, it really helps if you can click subscribe and a thumbs up. It means a lot. Thanks a lot. Now, commercial over. I'm going to turn to the comments. I just jump in. Good morning from Minnesota, writes Heidi Crane in a little crafty nook. Hi, Heidi. Heather Knowles writes LOL. And then Swally Faces, was that for the hallway sex? Keeping it real, Casey, LOL. Misty's House of Tarot Cards, laughing. I bet that's the hallway sex joke. I thought that was really funny. Judy Porterfield, good morning, Casey, from Michigan. And Judy Tucker, what does your day of eating look like? Thank you, Judy. Judy Tucker is a rock star. Judy Tucker has lost over 150 pounds. Judy Tucker started when she was 65. Judy Tucker is a farmer. I don't know how she was a farmer 150 plus pounds ago. So these days, a day of eating for me usually looks like really decadent, cheesy scrambled eggs. We have backyard chickens, and so we have a ready supply of eggs. And I'll have, this is usually mid-morning, late morning. Yesterday was, it was almost mid-afternoon before I really felt like I was time to eat. I'm pushing the peckishness. But I'll scramble them up. I'll put some shredded cheddar in and a couple of little dollops of cream cheese. Oof, so decadent. And I mix it up. And I cook them in the microwave sometimes. So I'll have that. I occasionally will have some bacon, a couple of slices of bacon. And then depending on how I'm feeling and how I'm sticking to the protocol and not eating if I'm not hungry, if I get peckish, beyond peckish, I will opt for, I really like the rotisserie chicken breast that from Costco that they package. So they have their rotisserie chickens and they package that breast. It's just chicken meat, chicken breast meat. So it's a good way to get some protein. It's not calorically dense. I think 3 ounces is 100 calories, although we don't count calories on this. Calories count. So this is where it comes in. So I'll have a little bit of that, maybe a little smear of some homemade mayonnaise, or maybe I'll have some hard-cooked eggs and have essentially deconstructed deviled eggs. I'll chop up a couple of hard-boiled eggs, a little bit of mayonnaise. Be careful with the mayonnaise. Whereas 3 ounces of rotisserie chicken breast is 100 calories, 14 grams of mayonnaise is 100 calories. 14 grams, half an ounce by weight. So be careful with that. A little mustard, a little eat that. I've gotten kind of to the point where I rarely eat an evening plate of fuel. I will prepare it for my husband, or he'll prepare it for himself. He's a good cook, but he works, so I don't mind making it. And I'm just generally not eating because I'm not hungry. The days when I'm not doing so well, I will say, I'm just going to have a few pork rinds. This is pork rinds, maybe with a little dip, which is essentially sour cream. Or, you know, sometimes I just want to eat something that I like. So we make our home version of a Five Guys burger. And it's just as good and it costs a fraction. And I'll make that and I like it. So some days I knowingly eat more than I require. Not most days. So, and it's never a big deal. I'm not out of ketosis. So on the morning snippets with my patrons, I share my weight fluctuations every morning. Oh, by the way, y'all, yesterday I told you I was up 1.3 pounds from Thursday. This morning, back down 1.3 pounds from yesterday. So there you go. So I share weight fluctuations, but I'll share with you on these Saturdays once a week because I'm doing a little experiment for over the course of a year or two. I take my ketones and blood glucose on Saturday mornings. This morning, my glucose was 61 and my beta hydroxybutyrate as measured on the Keto Mojo was 2.0. So even days when I make our homemade Five Guys or something like that, it's just sometimes I'll have a lower ketone reading than my normal, but it's never not ketosis. By the way, Keto Mojo, I used to use the Precision Extra. If you go to my blog and you would like to get a Keto Mojo, if you click in the sidebar, click on that, you'll get a discount, I think, and I get a little taste. It's a little affiliate link, I think. Thank you. I only do that because I like the product. I use it. I use the product myself. Okay, back to comments. But thank you for the question, Judy Tucker. Happy Ferret, I have tried every magnesium under the sun and still have leg cramps at night. Anyone have any additional ideas? Pickle juice, mustard. There's T T C P. There's something with a reaction, probably of the acid in pickle juice, mustard, things like this. Transient TRP, transient receptor potential. Look it up. TRP. So try that. Some people swear by it. There are people that keep the little packets of yellow mustard at their bedside table. Judy Porterfield, Amazon. Okay, a little crafty nook. Oh, me too, Happy Ferret. Very frustrating. I have my magnesium and yes, the pickle juice too. Okay, so everyone's giving their updates. Redmond salt, real salt, pickle juice. Did it take a while for your insulin number to come down? Asks Candace. Now, my insulin, I wish there was that at-home insulin reader. My glucose, yes, it took a while for it to come down. As a matter of fact, glucose can actually bump up when you first start, even if you're being quite clear on the protocol. Why would that be? Well, because when you're eating carbs and burning sugar for fuel, your pancreas and insulin are engaged. And so your internal insulin is trying to keep the blood sugar down, so it tamps it down. You lay off the carbs, you start burning fat for fuel, the insulin is not required, and so the glucose can go up just a bit. So mine did, but then it came down. I never paid any attention to my lab test regarding insulin before because I didn't know enough about it. But now my IR score, insulin resistance score, is very good. And Judy Tucker writes, thank you, Casey. And Happy Ferret says, thanks all. For those of you who are interested, I have returned to the gym because I get asked about exercise as well. For me, Being conscientious and disciplined and consistent at the gym is the counterpart to those of us who struggle with being consistent and disciplined and doing what we need to do as far as the food goes. Pretty much have the food down and have for a really long time, other than those times when I eat more than I require. But I know that going to the gym or working out in some way, you don't have to belong to a gym. I just happen to really like the facility um, that I to which I have access. It's associated with my alma mater, and it's a very nice facility, and I get a very good deal on it. But I know that I feel better. It works for me. It's logical. I want to build core strength and lean mass, and just feel better about myself and feel like I'm not a slug. So I have been consistent, and I'm very much enjoying it. And my next thing, getting back in the pool. Mm. Actually, you know what? The People's Pharmacy, let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna try to do something. I very much like the People's Pharmacy. It's a, uh, program out of, UNC, North Carol University of North Carolina Public Radio, and it's just good information. Let me see if I can search for an article on leg cramps. Do they have a search? Search cramps. Pickle relish will do in a pinch against leg cramps. How to ease leg cramps with mustard. Can soap chips in your socks? Have you heard about this? Okay, I'm just gonna link to this and put it there. They have a lot of conversations on, um, on the People's Pharmacy about a lot of things. There you go. Mustard, sauerkraut juice, soap in your sock at night. People swear by it. So, oh, thank you for the hearts, by the way. I see little hearts out of my peripheral vision. I don't know. It just tickles me. So thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. How about that? Unsolicited, please send me hearts. How romantic. Oop. You should check out the People's Pharmacy. They Joe and Terry Graydon, husband and wife team. They've been around forever, ever. Cool, never heard of soap in your sock. Yeah, it's this like so the People's Pharmacy is very open to hearing about age-old home remedies, and they don't poo-poo it. They say, "Listen, for millennia, people survived and thrived, and before there was a pharmaceutical industry." Uh-oh, Judy Porterfield writes, "I've been having RLS, restless leg syndrome, a lot lately, too. Any idea? Heart, heart, heart. Hey, our weekly video Bible study at Scott. Thank you. Ideas? Well, I go to that link, People's Pharmacy, and type in restless leg syndrome. I mean, they've got decades of information. Jennifer James writes, "Oh, Judy, I'm with you. Help." Friends, I really appreciate you allowing me to be part of your day. I hope everyone is safe. If I can do this, you can do this. There's a lot of, okay, so Cara Z writes, "I have RLS too, and sometimes just a big glass of water helps." It's it's easy to become discouraged. I actually did a snippet the other day about not letting disappointment morph into discouragement. We can be disappointed about something. You can be disappointed that the scale didn't move for the last 2 weeks. If that's the scale's not the most important thing, but I'm using it as an example. You can be disappointed. Try not to let it become discouragement because often the next step after discouragement is quitting. And we know it won't work if you quit. This will work. You just have to do it. Oh, thank you, Daniel. My disembodied British voice from my MacBook told me it's 10:30. I will sign off. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay cool, and be sweet. Just don't eat sweets. Bye, guys.